Thank you for joining us today for the head coach's press conference for the 2023 Valero Alamo Bowl. It's my pleasure to welcome the head coach of Arizona, Jedd Fisch, and the head coach for Oklahoma, Brent Venables. Let's begin with an opening statement from Coach Fisch.
Well, thank you, and thank you to Valero. And the Valero Alamo Bowl has been a fantastic week. It has been, we got here on the 23rd, and everybody has just been phenomenal. The city of San Antonio, everybody that works with the Alamo Bowl. So just wanted to say thank you first and foremost. Thank you to all of the media that came over their Christmas holiday to come cover us and join us. We're certainly excited. Our team's ready to go. It has been a while since we played a game. So, you know, those guys have been practicing 14, 15 times. And I think all they want to do now is play another team and not look at one another. So we know we got an incredible opponent ahead of us. Oklahoma has done an amazing job this year, amazing job in years past, and it is a true blue blood of college football. So the opportunity for us to play them, we don't take lightly. We're very grateful for that. And we know they got a heck of a team. So we're going to have to bring our very best tomorrow evening, and we hope it's in front of a sold-out crowd. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, buy now.
Thank you, Coach. Coach Venables.
Again, good morning to everybody, and appreciate everybody being here. Again, thanks. I'd reiterate everything Coach Fisch said in regards to San Antonio, amazing city, as we all know, incredibly hospitable. Thank you to Derek Fox and the Alamo Bowl Valero committee. Just a wonderful week, great opportunity to have some free time where we could meet the other staff and get a chance to, you know, share in what you go through during the course of a season, and really appreciate, you know, the opportunity to play a quality opponent like Arizona. You know, this is a team that, again, as we've said, is as hot as anybody in college football right now. I have a great deal of respect and appreciation for what Coach Fisch and his staff have done, what their players have done. They've developed things the right way. They recruited these guys and have kept them there and developed them, and have gone through some tough moments as they built their program. And you know, they can play with anybody. I think they've shown that this season, and we've talked about it constantly. Our guys are excited to play. We got 70 scholarship players that are committed to you know, finishing what they started, and really excited about what we've seen, and an opportunity for the 129th team in Oklahoma history to have a chance to go after an 11th win. What a blessing that is. Been done 27 times in Oklahoma's history, and tied with Alabama. So we got a great opportunity against a fantastic opponent, easily one of the best matchups in all the bowl season. So looking forward to tomorrow night.
Can we go front, second row right there?
Nathan Thompson, Fox 23 in Tulsa for Coach Venables. 2 years ago, you were the OU head coach but didn't coach this game. I remember you watching intently from the sideline. Coach Stoops pulled you up on the podium afterwards to celebrate. Being back here, does that bring back fond memories? And have you had a chance yet to kind of take stock in how much your life has changed in 2 years?
I really haven't. It seems like dog years. Seems like a decade ago that took place. I'll be honest. It was a very cool moment for me. As I've said before, Coach Stoops recruited me. I'm 17 years old, and you know, that's constantly one of the many messages that we promote to our players, that your relationships is what real enrichment in your life and opportunity, and the pathways that are going to come from those relationships. So incredibly indebted to Coach Stoops, certainly to Joe Castiglione and President Joe Harris, and their belief in myself and our staff and all the support that we've been given. We've been gone through a lot, like a lot of people in college football. What a time, Coach Fisch, to make your head coaching debut right in the middle of you know, a real storm, if you will. But it's been a real blessing, been a lot of fun, a lot of growth, a lot has changed since that time, but a really cool moment to be back here in San Antonio. It brings up a lot of those memories from that night for sure.
Can we go middle?
Coach Fisch, I wanted to ask you, from an outsider's perspective, can you look at what Oklahoma's done under Brent in the last 2 years, everything he's had to do to turn around? How much do you appreciate that? And then for Brent, same scenario with what Coach Fisch has done in 3 years, building a one-win team and turning it around like they did.
Yeah, well, I have a ton of respect for Coach Venables, both when he was a defensive coordinator for years, and we had dinner together the other night, and I said, how many of these head coaching jobs did you turn down? Because he is at the highest of high levels of coaches. And so when he chose to come to Oklahoma, it was one of those programs you want to monitor, you want to watch, you want to see how quickly will he put his stamp on the program. And I think that's what it comes down to. It's not about necessarily always turning something around. Everybody's in a different and unique situation. It's what he's done with his program the way he wanted it. And you can just see when you take a team that for years under Coach Riley we're going to be a score fest type team, and now all of a sudden you watch Oklahoma and they can score with everybody and they're a top 5 offense, yet they're taking the ball away 26 times this year. And when you see a team that does that, that's the respect that I have, that Coach Venables in 2 years goes from 6 to 10 wins. He adds 4 wins to his, in second year. And then on top of it, it's just the way they play. That's what coaches, I think there's a saying like, those who know. When you watch their film, you know. And you know that Coach Venables is going to have a ton of success because of the way his program and his culture clearly is taking notice.
I think probably the under the current state of college football, the best compliment I can give Coach Fish and again his staff is their ability to retain their players in a really tumultuous time. They've got, and again, this isn't coach speak. It's the real thing. It'll all come to fruition here quickly, but they've got NFL guys all over the place. They've got players that can go anywhere in the country that are in high demand in the landscape of college football, yet these players have chosen to stay. And so they're connected to something. They've built it on relationships. They've built it on development. They've done it with the things that can sustain, that have longevity in a time where college football has become more and more transactional. They've done a great job about development and connection, and just doing it the right way, recruiting guys out of high school, signing them and developing them and creating an environment that the players feel like they're valued and that they're part of a family and something bigger than themselves, and then they play that way. And incredibly as efficient of a football team as we've seen all year, might be the best opponent that we've seen all year.
Front row, middle.
Yeah, Brent, wanted to ask you about Jackson Arnold, and what kind of progress have you seen from him over this bowl prep season? What are some of the key areas of growth? And then for you, Coach Fish, wanted to ask you about a little bit more about the story about Bob introducing you to your wife.
Yeah, Jackson, again, he's been around the game, since he came out of his mama's womb, and been throwing the ball around since then. But he's got a great demeanor to him. I think when I was a young coach, I thought the quarterback had to be like the middle linebacker and rah-rah and emotional. And as I became and after I coached Sam Bradford on the scout team, who later became the number 1 pick in the draft, I learned quickly as I tried to get Sam to do it like I wanted him to do it. Maybe his way's better. And but very cerebral, consistent, same guy every day, puts the work in. Just a fantastic teammate. Very highly recruited, very well thought of. Yet there's no entitlement whatsoever with Jackson. He's got the instincts that you want him to have, the poise, whether it's his ability to climb in the pocket, his patience, trust the guys around him, throws guys open, throws with great anticipation, has all the skills that you want a guy to have. But you've watched him, have, in his backup role, he might have 2 or 3 bad practices where you're like, boy, you leave a little bit to be desired. Not as much of an opportunity as what he has now. Now, if he had a bad play, he doesn't have a bad series. If he had a bad series, he doesn't have a bad day. And, he's quickly able to regain his composure and not let, a bad moment really affect him. You've seen that, happen throughout the course of the season, but especially during these, last several practices.
Can we go back?
I think Coach Fish has the follow-up.
Coach Stoops story. So I was a graduate assistant at University of Florida, and back then there wasn't like 100 graduate assistants and 20 analysts, so there was just 2 of us. And we were at the coaches convention, and my wife was working for Grant Taff at the AFCA. We're working for a company that put on their convention. And Coach Stoops just won the National Coach of the Year. Oklahoma just won the national championship. And it was in 2001. January of '01, I believe, is when the convention was. And it was at the end of the night, we were all getting done with the banquet, and Amber and a couple of her friends were at the table next to us. And he said, that might be a good person to say hello to, Jed. And 21 years later, here we are. So pretty cool story. Obviously, Coach Stoops means a lot to us, and as does Coach Spurrier, and we were sharing that story with Coach Venables and Julie the other night, and it's always a good little connector.
Can we go back right there first and then second?
James Hale from CBS Sports Radio. Hey, Brent, Arizona has a ton of offensive weapons. Talk about what you've got to do to stop them. And Coach Fish, I'm curious because Oklahoma has a new coordinator, new quarterback. Does it change anything on how you prepare for Oklahoma? And Coach Venables, if you could start, please.
Yeah, again, I think you've seen what the quarterback Fafita, what he can do, special player, his instincts, his command, his decision making, his ability to improvise. He's got great weapons, but he helps them, execute at a really, really high level. I think completing 74% of his passes, top 5 in the country, and just he's got a great presence to him. The receivers are fantastic. They got great speed. They got length. They got size. Playmaking ability. They make a lot of competitive plays. 2 and 4 in particular. They're tight end 84, another excellent player, big body guy. And then running back, I love the running backs, the stable of them. 6 gets the majority of the carries, runs with power, speed, with an edge and an attitude. And then they got an excellent offensive line. And so offensively, just a really, really confident unit that plays with a lot of precision, a lot of physical toughness, and then 2 years in a row, one of the most explosive offenses in college football. And everybody says it starts with the run game and those types of things, but they have the ability to attack you vertically, certainly to pound you in the run game, and then they do a great job on all their screen presentations as well.
Can we go second row aisle?
What was part 2 of that question? Part 2 is what? Yes, Seth Luttrell. I've met Coach Luttrell a couple years ago when he was the head coach at North Texas. But, it provides a great challenge because when you look at their offense and you look at statistically where they were with Coach Levy and with Dillon, you see probably one of the best 5 offenses, not even probably, one of the best 5 offenses in the country. And now you're sitting there and you're trying to make a determination on when you're game planning a offense with a different quarterback and a different coordinator. And now Coach Luttrell has called plays, and you can go back and chase. You say, oh well, at Indiana, what did he do? When he was at North Texas, what did he do? When he was at Arizona, what did he do? But at some point in time, you just have to play fundamental football, and you have to just believe in what you see, and you have to say there's going to be certain principles that his lineage, will bring. And then there's also, it's 3 weeks, and how much are you going to change in 3 weeks? So it's that fine line of chasing ghosts, which all of us can do in the coaching profession, and try to find, what if they do this, and what if they do that, and what if he changes this? Or we have to say, hey, we need to line up the formations. We have to line up quickly. We have to be prepared for a system of offense. And now we have to defend a quarterback that we haven't seen a lot of, but we know how talented he is based on high school recruiting and the games he's gotten in, and a coordinator that has always done a great job wherever he's at. And we know it's a great challenge.
Yeah, Coach, I was wondering if you could go into a little bit more on Noah. The Oklahoma fans haven't seen Arizona as much as most teams, most of the really good teams. Could you go into a little bit more detail?
Sure. So Noah is a redshirt freshman quarterback, came in here from Servite, California, with 3 of his teammates, and number 4, McMillan, number 88, Kean Burnett, and number 5, Jacob Manu. Pretty good high school team. And all 4 of them came together, and Noah was the ringleader. We offered Noah probably within a month of my arrival on campus, and when he was I guess he was a junior at that point, and he was committed to us and stayed committed to us for 10 months. And what I love about Noah is he committed to us when Arizona was on a 12-game losing streak, and he stayed committed to us when we went 1-11. And if that doesn't speak to his character, I don't know what does. But he is an incredible preparer. He loves the game of football. He's addicted to the game of football. And he's somebody that not only does everything right off the field, he does everything right on the field. And, I would say this. If you have great habits, off the field, you usually have great habits on the field. And his habits have certainly allowed him to be a 75% passer and be prepared and be able to walk into the game. His first ever start was against Washington, who was on, at that point in time, a 16-game win streak. And, we lost 31-24. And then his second start was at the Coliseum when we lost in triple overtime. And then since then, he hasn't lost. And he's just led the team. And he's a wonderful kid.
Front row.
Yeah, hey, Brent. Ethan yesterday was talking a lot about the buy-in from the players. You mentioned 70 scholarship guys committed to finishing what they started. Could you just speak to the buy-in from the program, where it is now versus where it was a year ago? Because it seems like you've gotten quite a few guys to say, hey, coming back for my senior year. A lot of guys, that could go get ready for the NFL, but they're playing in this game. Does that speak to the buy-in of the program where it was maybe a year ago? Yeah, well, I would first I'd be remiss if I didn't, mention the young men that aren't playing in the game for different reasons. I love every single one of those guys and want nothing but the best for them. We have several guys that are going on to the NFL and, getting ready for all-star games, and then certainly as Coach Fish and I have had several conversations about, the free agencies right in the middle of the playoffs and the bowl system, and it's a very unique timing standpoint. I don't blame any of the players that are looking for a better opportunity. You got to do it now so that you can maybe have a little more leverage in a place that's a very short, small window with, again, from a timing standpoint, not ideal for anybody, but where they have to do what's best for them. And so I just wanted to say that first of all, but have great appreciation and respect for the guys in our locker room as well. We do have, again, I think every coach would sit up here and say the same thing, but the buy-in is never been higher. I think the results from the season would say that, and this is a group of guys that are highly invested, and several of them in the last 2 years. Obviously, we starting in January had 97 players in their first or their second year at Oklahoma, and but this is a group of guys, whether it's the new guys that just showed up, 63 newcomers in January last year. Scholarship and preferred walk-ons, or it was guys that are in their second year or their third year in the program or fourth year in the program, just under a different staff. It's been fantastic, and we've got great leadership, and we've got guys that care deeply about their opportunity and care deeply about their teammates, and certainly again what this game means, and again the whole principle of again finishing what you started. That's what you want to have a life that that embodies that.
Question on the aisle back there.
This question is for Jed. College football bowl games are allowing teams to use wireless communication in helmets. Is that something that you guys are working on? And what do you think about adding that to the sport? And Brent, can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, I'm all for that. I came from the NFL, so that's kind of how we've been communicating. So it's nice to get back to that. I think we'll be kicking that off in the first game of next year, from what I understand. And we're not going to be using it in this game, but we will very much be using it as far as I'm aware, starting the first game of next year, and that'll give everybody spring football. That'll give everybody training camp to work any kinks out. I still think they need to legislate it. I'm not on the legislation committee, but I would say this: you shouldn't be in someone's ear for 30 seconds. You shouldn't be in someone's ear when they're standing over the ball. And I think that would be a distraction more than a help. The NFL has got a lot of things figured out. This is another thing I think they have figured out. Cut the thing off at 25 seconds, give a coach 15 seconds to talk, and then move on. And I think if we could do that and get this legislated properly, put it in one person's helmet, not 11, we have a great chance of being successful here. If we do it the other way, I think it'll cause more harm than good.
Thank you. Let's do final two questions right here. Here and there.
Brent, I was rereading a story you once told about being at this game in '98 with K-State and having to make a really tough night before visit with Coach Snyder about what you were going to do and your future. And for a guy who I know how much he meant to you and means to you still, and a guy who reflects on flashpoints of his career, I'm wondering if you still think about that night and that particular moment and how it sort of pivoted one way or the other. What's happened since for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about those moments. Those are life-changing decisions that propel you to the what's next and give you opportunity. And certainly that was as agonizing of a decision. And I've only left a couple of programs. Every one of them was really difficult, but well thought out. And you trust your instincts. You pray. You look for a little bit of guidance. Keep the faith that your experience and wisdom and your faith will get you to the right next spot. But Coach Snyder, again, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of y'all had it not been for his belief in me and the opportunities that he gave me as well. And again, got recruited to Kansas State by Coach Bob Stoops as well. And so when that moment came in 1998 to either stay at Kansas State or move forward, I knew I needed to get out of the nest to learn how to fly. And I needed to have another lineage, if you will, to the coaching tree, another place to go and again learn and grow. At that time, I didn't feel like I was ready to be all the responsibilities I was offered at Kansas State. I just had great self-awareness, and I wanted to continue to develop and learn as a coach. You promote that to your players all the time. It's not an overly popular thing sometimes, but for me as a young person, I did have that wisdom. But the other thing I remember was not winning the game. We lost 37-34 to Drew Brees. He throws a fade route and third down to win the game, but I have life-changing. My life has been enriched through those relationships, and certainly that was a moment that was incredibly difficult, but one that I've been blessed ever since. So, but I do think about those things quite often. So, a lot of great people have helped me get to this place, and Coach Snyder, Coach Stoops are two of those people.
Final question.
This question is for Jed. How important is it for the trajectory of the program, the fact that you're facing a team with a background and a history of Oklahoma?
Well, the program is just getting built. We're just getting started. This will be the fourth time, if we can get to 10 wins, that the program since 1930 has gotten to 10 wins. This is the 11th time that it's gotten to 9 wins. So just to be in this game, and then you get to get matched up in the Valero Alamo Bowl, which is one of the best bowl games in the country in the bowl season, and then you get to play against a team that is a 10-2 football team that is elite at everything they've done in football over the course of the years. I told our team 7 national championships, 7 Heisman Trophy winners, 19 10-win seasons in the last 21 years, I think it is. So, when you look at who they are and what they are, it's a huge part of the game. But, just like I told our staff this morning, the next 24, 48 hours, whatever it is until kickoff, now we got to just treat this like now we're ready to play a game. It's not about a bowl game. It's not about who we're playing. It's how we always prepared these final 48 hours, and it's got to be us being at our very best.
Thank you, coaches, for bringing your team. If you could close by standing so they get a picture of you two together.